This video is going to show you how to use SQL Server Management Studio software to create a SQL view of your Cityworks production database. So inside the software you can see that I am connected to a server or an instance that has my SQL database. If I expand my database folders, you can see all the different databases that exist inside this instance. And the one that I'm using today is going to be my Cityworks production database. So if I expand Cityworks production, you can see the different folders that go along with this database. And these come with the install of Cityworks. So your tables will be one that you'll want to use for finding the information, which table does it exist in, what do those field names look like. And then your view folder, if I were to expand that, I can see all of the views. And these are ones that come when you install the software. So what we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be creating a new view. So you would right click on the view and choose New View. And it's going to ask you which tables it is that you would like to be creating this query off of. Now the two that you want to use for these enhanced event layers are work order and work order entity. Your work order table is the information that you usually see on the first view of your work order, so the description, the status, actual and projected dates, information like that. The work order entity table is the information that you would see in the assets panel of the work order, so which valves were operated, which hydrants were operated, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Add and close out of there. Now if for some reason you accidentally removed one of these tables or you needed to add another one later on, you can always go back up to Add Table button, and it's just going to bring that interface right back up for you again. You'll notice that when I added those, it automatically understood that there was a relationship between the two tables, that the work order ID out of the work order table is related to the work order ID out of the work order entity table. So the different panels, this is your diagram panel, this is your criteria panel, this third one here is your SQL panel, and this last one here is your results. So any changes you make to one of these top three panels is automatically going to show in the other two panels. And then your results is just where you would hit the run button and you would see the results of what that query is going to return to you. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started. I'm going to add a few fields here, and I can just do that by clicking in the box right next to the field name that I want. So I want description, actual finish date, entity type, so this would be the GIS feature, valves, and then entity UID. Now entity UID is your unique ID in your GIS, or your facility ID or asset ID, whichever you call it. It's stored in the entity UID field. Now at this point I can just run the query if I want, and I would do that by choosing this Execute SQL button here, the red exclamation mark. I'm not going to quite do that yet, because if I do this it's going to return every single work order type and every single asset that's ever been attached to a work order. And I know that that's quite a few in my case, so I'm going to start to filter the information down a little bit. I know that I only want to look at work orders that are operate valves. So you'll notice that as I type this in here, it goes in and it changes my SQL syntax for me. So once again, changes made in one of these top three panels will usually filter through and add changes in the other panels. So at this point I can execute my SQL, and I'm just going to do that by clicking the red exclamation mark. And you'll see here that it's returned all of my work orders that have an operate valve description, the actual finish date, the entity type that it is, and then the entity UID, otherwise known as facility ID. And since we call it facility ID, I'm going to come in and change this field name here to be facility ID so I don't get confused. So this alias column here in your criteria panel is what you would use to change those field names. So I'm just going to type in facility ID, and if I hit execute again, you'll notice that it changes the field name to facility ID. So if I were to come in here now and I'm just looking at the data and I want to make sure that it's pretty clean, I'm going to sort by entity type. And when I do that, you'll notice that for some reason we have managed to choose hydrants and curb boxes and mains and have added them to certain work orders of the type operate valves, which obviously is not very appropriate. So I want to go in and I want to start to filter even more, and I want to say only turn results where the entity type is a system valve. And so I'll run that again. Now this is looking pretty good, but you'll notice that my date field, I want to be symbolizing these on the map by the year that they were done, and I have a full date here and I only want the year. So how to extract the year from the date: you would come into your criteria panel and you would type in year with parentheses around the field name or the date field that you're extracting it from. And when I click off, you'll know that it's automatically asking me to assign an alias to this field. So I'm going to choose year. And if I hit run, you'll see now that it has extracted the year from my actual finish date. So this is looking pretty good. I'm going to come in here and now sort by entity UID. So at this point you'll notice that I've got a valve here, A061, and it has been operated 3 different times. If I were to join at this point in my GIS, it's going to just be a one-to-one join, so it's going to randomly choose one of these values to join off of. And so I need to further filter this so that I only return the most recent time that that valve was operated. So I only want to return this record here, the 2013. So you do that by grouping, and by grouping you come up to this and you choose an add group by. Now when I click that button, it adds a new field or column to my criteria panel called group by. And what it does is it goes in and says if this value is the same, group it. If this value is the same, group them for fields that are similar. So I'm going to choose group by, but I'm going to send my year to the maximum value. I only want to group on the maximum value. So if I were to hit run now, you'll notice that it's just going to return for that one valve, A061, the 2013 record. So what this has done is it's gone in and found duplicate values and is just returning the ones that have a maximum year and everything else is similar. So at this point we have created the view and we are ready to bring it into GIS.